Hey, good morning, team. I just wanted to take a quick moment here to get this out real quick. You know, what happened last week in a council meeting resulted in what I think everybody in the world is calling an illegal arrest and a violation of someone's First Amendment rights. That's clearly not what we're about, and that is not what happened. And so what I'm going to do is kind of intro Sergeant Rothschild to talk about a few things to avoid when confronted by a First Amendment auditor. Now, we know that stuff's going to be happening. Our social media and online presence has been affected not only by what I would call trolls and bots that have anonymously posted lots of things, you know, criticizing me, criticizing the department, and more importantly, you know, asking for me to fire the officer involved. That's not going to happen. We took action that night to complete what we normally would do, which is a use of force report. We took real quick action to make certain that we were in alignment with what our policy is and what our philosophy is, which is to take the next steps to make certain that we were in a position of power to show that we, and specifically Officer Shornikoff, you know, acted with absolute speed to carry out the mission as directed that evening. And so understand, when something doesn't look right or something doesn't look popular, that doesn't mean it's wrong. And I've told him he has our support as an executive team, my support as police chief, and that goes all the way up through our city management. So with all the stuff that's going on and around the outside, don't focus on that. Focus on doing your job, and let's avoid any more conflict. And so that's what Sergeant Rothschild is going to talk about. The last thing is make certain that if you see Steve running around, make certain you know that he knows that you support him, that we all care for him and his family, because this always affects the families as well. And so there'll be some other things coming, how we're going to protect your identity, and if you haven't gotten your information redacted, please do that. We know that some of the folks online have already either doxed or tried to dox the mayor, and we want to avoid that for any of you that end up in one of these situations. Unfortunate, but it probably will happen in your career at some point. Somebody will criticize you, and as long as we are all together and we're stay unified, you'll have my support.
Hey everyone, my name's Jamie. I work over at the police department, and before I came to work at this city, I worked at another city where I got a fair amount of experience with community action teams, community responses, responding to various issues that go on in the community with protests and First Amendment audits and such, and also running the Bias Crimes Investigation Squad. And just wanted to put out some simple reminders. If you're ever approached by someone who might be trying to pull you into a conversation or trying to pull you into taking some sort of action, first and foremost, take a breath. Be calm. Sometimes we want to engage. People might put a camera in your face or tell you that you're wrong or try to confront you. And if you can just take that moment, maybe find a coworker. Sometimes people aren't really aware of how to respond in these situations. So always take that moment, collect yourself. It is okay to ask clarifying questions, but what we always try to do is balance the rights of the community, the public, with our responsibilities as city employees. And so in those situations, if you're ever approached, some people call them First Amendment audits, some people are just confronted with folks who want to ask questions in a demanding manner. Take the breath, talk to your supervisor, talk to your coworker. And again, we want to try and find that balance between protecting everyone's rights, but yet still being able to protect the community. So that's the first point. The other thing is sometimes you are asked questions designed in a way, or other folks are being recorded, and we forget that in the public, as public employees, there's no reasonable expectation to privacy. So people don't need your permission to record in public. So please keep that in mind, because if you do a simple Google search, you'll find that something that a lot of people get pretty passionate about is you don't have my permission to take my video or my photo, my image. And so I would just submit to you, again, check with your chain. We can certainly check with all the city resources. That may or may not be true depending on the situation, but oftentimes public employees and public spaces, that is not necessarily a consideration we have. And then the third point is signage matters. We do work for the public, and we oversee public areas where the public has a right to go. But there are certain restricted areas where the public does not have a reasonable expectation to go. And so be aware of cameras in your building or signage. If it says no trespassing, restricted area, those things matter, so that if you do go to your supervisor, an employee, or other city resource for help, you're able to articulate what those areas are. And if you see an opportunity that we could create better signage, please don't be afraid to let your chain know either. So again, take a deep breath, be calm. It's okay to be considerate and kind as you ask for help, and then come up with a plan together. But the important point is, don't let anyone pull you into a confrontation or saying something, because these videos get posted online. So take that professional step, protect yourself, protect the city, and if you have any questions, please reach out for other resources.